Big changes are happening in Central Asia's energy sector. Are you ready to navigate them?
Hello and welcome to SteppeNRG Podcast, launching this Nauryz, where we would like to give you an essential guide to the energy sector and energy transition indeed in Central Asia and wider Caspian region. We are doing this together with Nick Pomeroy and Anglo-Kazakh to have a partnership and discussion and bring you the best content on the subject. Over to you, Nick.
So I'm Nick Pomeroy. I've been living and working in Kazakhstan and the wider Central Asia region for 25 years now, working for lots of multinational companies in and around the energy sector. And in those 25 years, we've seen a massive change in the region in terms of investments in the energy sector, initially in the hydrocarbon sector, and then post-pandemic, a real change to clean energy and decarbonisation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Ora Lazic. I'm international energy expert and energy transition consultant. Grew up and started my early career in Kazakhstan and of course traveled extensively within the region. So I know what's pertinent to the energy sector and how it's evolving, and actually new streams are emerging between Central Asia, but also in the links to international regions such as Europe, but also global supply and demand centers. There are exciting changes indeed happening in the world of energy. This region in particular plays an important role. We believe there are a lot of challenges that needs to be tackled, of course, as the world shifts from fossil fuels to cutting-edge renewables, perhaps sustainable fuels, but also the need in reforming policy and building international partnerships are becoming important.
Absolutely. So we all know that Central Asia is an area that's rich in easily accessible mineral resources, but it's also at a real crossroads. We have obviously geopolitical issues in the region, we have investment challenges, and also we have the energy transition. So obviously a region that is heavily dependent on hydrocarbons is now looking at newer technologies such as green hydrogen and nuclear. And what we want to do in this podcast is really look at how the region is positioning itself as a critical energy hub for the rest of the world. And also what we really want to do is really peel back the stories and the nuance behind all the rhetoric that comes out from the region and give you a real understanding of what's really happening, what's the real opinions, what are the real opportunities in the region. And what we want to do is look at how energy policy, geopolitics, and technical innovation all intersect within the region.
Absolutely, yeah, very well said, Nick. And of course, I mean, when I looked at the last International Energy Report, it gave the number around 1% of global energy actually is generated and delivered from the Caspian region, which includes Central Asia and Azerbaijan. And that's, of course, is not going to change and perhaps evolve even into the future as the energy sector itself transforms. But also, as you say, I mean, it's very difficult nowadays. We go to social media and AI for our information and insight. Sometimes it may not be easy to separate fact from fake, or having kind of difference of opinion even, and alternative like theories going when you kind of there's always an opinion that's needed, I believe. And that's why I think we thought SteppeNRG Podcast will bring the content that will gather the community and the audience around facts about Central Asia, about the energy sector in this region, challenge those assumptions, perhaps bring in more of those minority and alternative opinions. And ultimately, of course, we are looking to bring transparency to the information we get about this region and give more confidence for you in the international community to bring solid international business opportunities.
So how are we going to present this podcast to you? Well, obviously, the majority of the podcasts are going to be myself and Ora discussing some of the challenges and the developments within the region. Hopefully, we'll get some nice disagreements so we can make the podcast a little more lively. But also what we want to do is occasionally bring in expert opinions and really sort of have deep dives into these emerging trends within the region and internationally as well. And what we also want to do is bring insights to the podcast from the people who are actually really working in the industry and driving the industry forward. So we'll have investors, policymakers, business leaders, very important, the business leaders, and also international executives on the podcast to share their thoughts with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you belong to any of those communities, as Nick mentioned, or just passionate about Central Asia and the energy sector and how energy transition will actually come to life in the next few years, please join our audience. Click on all the links that Nick and I will provide in coming days, because as Nauryz is coming very soon, we're going to start launching episodes. As Nick said, we will have very rich conversation with our expertise and background, as well as fact-checked information, as well as bringing the experts. So please join us.
So join our SteppeNRG community now and be part of today and tomorrow's conversation.
Thank you, Nick.